So I want to show this real quick to you guys. So this was a post made by Camus. And so we know that digital IDs are here. We know that it's happening in the UK. Keir Starmer is announcing that all UK workers are required to take a digital ID. They say that's a fix for their horrible immigration policies, which, again, we have had immigration, beforehand on accountability and based on actual legality, and they had to go through checks and balances. We have done this before without digital IDs, so saying that you have to do this because of that, it just seems absolutely ridiculous, which makes me think that the whole mass immigration policy, much like a lot of these other policies, are leading up to this moment. So it's happening in the UK. They're trying to announce in the United States. They're trying to announce in Australia. They're bringing portions of it into Canada. So I just want to reveal to people, and this post is very important, on what this all entails. Why they're doing this digital ID, why they're transforming the economy, why someone like Mark Carney is deliberately going against Canadians and going against Canadian interest to transform our country backwards and upside down into this weird pseudo-reality sci-fi world that we're in. Well, according to him, he says they are building a neo-feudal system, and they're telling us right to our faces. As Eva Valderenbrook, I don't know if that's how you say it, Valderenbrook, powerfully warned, the so-called digital identity is not about convenience. It's the architecture for total control. We now see the next step, a personal carbon credit system. A Dutch bank CEO recently championed the idea of a carbon wallet for every citizen. And she said that, the quiet part out loud, she suggested that wealthy elites like Bill Gates or Leonardo DiCaprio could simply buy carbon credits from those too poor to use them. So that's the gimmick. That's the gimmick. These so-called environmentalists, the top elites, Bill Gates, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Gore, John Kerry, all these individuals, David Suzuki, that they don't have to care about the environment because they can buy carbon credits from you. And they'll put the legislation onto you. They'll demonize you. They'll villainize you for traveling without an electric vehicle. They'll tell you not to have a gas-powered lawnmower. They'll tell you not to have a wood-fired oven. They'll tell you not to, use campfires and whatnot. All these restrictions are based upon you because they're not following through on this, which makes me believe that they are not for the environment whatsoever. Bill Gates could not care less about the planet. Coming from a man who thinks that trees are not a solution into dealing with climate change. But anyway, think about that, he says. A billionaire can purchase the right to fuel his private jet and park his super yacht, while a struggling family is incentivized to sell their right to a normal life, perhaps by foregoing a holiday or even eating meat. This is the chilling reality of the Great Reset. It creates a two-tiered society where the rich live by permission and the poor are paid to stay poor. This isn't a sustainable future. It's high-tech feudalism. And as Eva makes clear, we must see it for what it is and resist. So do not be fooled by anyone that tells you how convenient a digital ID or AI databases or don't be fooled to think that this is somehow benefiting your life. They could not care about your lives. They could not care about your personal freedoms. They are villainous against you. And this is why, because they want to take control of you. They view you as vermin. They view you as worse than dirt. And this is why they're okay with allowing this kind of contraption onto the rest of society. And like I said, Keir Starmer announced it. Australia's announcing it. United States, they have a real ID system, so it's in implementing there. It's coming into Canada. It's coming all over the place. They just announced in Croatia, the European Union is going to Croatia to implement digital IDs. So this is happening all across the world. And if you think for a second that, oh, well, China has it, it's going to be worse than China. It's going to be worse than what's happening in China. Just think about that in a so-called democracy of the West. So here's Eva Roller speaking directly to, I think this is the GB News in Great Britain. And here's what she says.
The digital identity is not just a passport that you will have on your iPhone in a digital form. It entails just about everything the government would like to know about you. And yesterday in the Dutch media, we saw a perfect example of what it could entail in the near future. We had the CEO of one of the largest Dutch banks say, why don't we start with a personal carbon credit? Oh. A carbon wallet, she called it, actually. Yeah. So right in line with the plans that the World Economic Forum people have for us. And she said it in a way that was particularly funny. She said, well, if everyone gets an individual personal carbon credit, why don't we make it so that rich people who, for example, want to go on holiday a little too often can buy personal carbon credit from other people who, for example, can't afford buying plane tickets or eating meat too.
By the way, the funny part about this is that carbon is not a danger. Carbon is actually necessary for life on Earth. I don't think she understands that. I don't think that Dutch banker understands that. Just like Bill Gates, just like all these other phony environmentalists, we are carbon-based life forms. We need carbon to survive. Carbon is a necessity for providing trees and plants and crops the energy it needs to produce oxygen, which we need to survive. Hence why NASA put out that article proving that the Earth is actually going through a greening phase right now because of the mass carbon input. Because there's so much carbon in the atmosphere, it's being transferred into plants using photosynthesis. This is stuff I learned in grade school, for God's sakes. And it's amazing that these grown adults don't know anything about it, is bringing in that carbon dioxide and producing oxygen, which is a necessity for us to live. So the carbon that they're reducing is not from the atmosphere. The carbon they're reducing is you. The carbon they're reducing is people like you that they're disgusted, they're heinous by. That's why they want to create this separate two-tier society of the rich and the poor. And that's a lot of the problems. It's not left versus right. It's up versus down. It's the billionaire class that are demonly going after the working class. Through ferocious policies, through demonizing the workplaces, from breaking up unions, being union busters. All this plays into this. Let's see some more.
Often, so we can that way swap it out.
Oh, so if Bill Gates or Leonardo DiCaprio's carbon footprint is getting a bit too big, then some peasant living in his hovel up country somewhere can sell his, and he can't afford to go to Saint-Tropez, but he'll be able to sell his carbon allowance to Leonardo DiCaprio so Leonardo can park his yacht in Saint-Tropez for a couple of extra days.
Exactly right. That's it. So what will happen is the rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer, and they're saying it openly as if it's not a controversial thing at all. It's neo-feudalism. That's what it is.
Die uitstootrechten verdelen en dat elk huishouden of elke burger een hoeveelheid uit.
So I'll just read what she says here. It says, let's ensure that every householder, every citizen in the Netherlands receives a certain amount of carbon emission rights. Carbon emission rights. Think how crazy that sounds. Carbon emission rights. So are they going to monitor how many times I fart a day? Are they going to have a checkboard? Are they going to, get an AI tool to track my phone to how many times I, take my car out or use a lawnmower? Carbon emission right. That is insane. That's insane. Again, we are carbon-based life forms. We produce carbon that gives off plants the energy to grow and provide oxygen, which we need to breathe. It's simple science, ladies and gentlemen. I thought we're supposed to trust the science, but apparently that science doesn't matter. It's about control.
Uitstootrechten krijgen, zodat we opgeteld, ja.
This way you can ensure that we do not emit more than our yearly limits.
Niet meer uitstoten dan onze grens. Vervolgens kunnen we...
Emission rights will be stored in a carbon
wallet, kan je dat noemen.
Kan je het bijkopen.
Ja, en dan kan je, als ik wil
I want to fly. I buy some carbon emission credits, and someone who can't afford to fly, for example,
vliegen. Koop van iemand die niet gaat vliegen, omdat hij daar bijvoorbeeld geen geld voor heeft. Die verkoopt aan mij zijn carbon uitstootrechten.
can buy from this poor person, can earn some
En
extra
krijgt
money.
daardoor een beetje meer geld. Of diegene woont in een kleiner huurhuis.
If someone lives in a small house, he can sell upon rights to someone who lives in a big house. Poor people can benefit. They can benefit from this scheme. That's what this Dutch banker is saying on the radio. Hey, poor people, you can benefit from this. Since you can't go outside, you can't enjoy life, you can't travel, you can't go see family, you're going to live in 15-minute cities, you won't be able to eat meat, you'll be living in shacks, and living worse than the Dark Ages in the medieval times, but you can benefit from this because you can sell off your credits to some rich bastard. Think of how great that is. Bill Gates can take control of you and then shake you by the whims for you to force to sell your carbon credits. How great that is.
En ik woon in een groot huis. Ik heb dus meer uitstootrechten nodig om mijn huis te verwarmen. En zo kunnen mensen met een smalle portemonnee ook iets verdienen aan vergroening.
So there you go. That was the end of it. But I just wanted to show people how heinous that system's going to be. Again, do not be fooled by the convenient factor that they try to tell you with that, oh, carrying around a wallet is too much. So having all your information stored on an AI system that allows the government and private corporations to exploit, that's beneficial. That's great. That's progress. Just know what's coming with it, that this is about control. This is about tyranny. This is about oppression of individualism, that people will no longer become, individuals with names and identities and actually have their own principles and beliefs and opinions. You become a slave. You become a number. You become a tracking device for authoritarian rule dictated by the billionaire class. Not just governments, the billionaire class that truly control and oppress over you. And that's why someone like Mark Carney, someone like Keir Starmer, even people like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, you think that's not in his direction because he was supposed to be against the globalists. Well, guess what? He's kissing up to Larry Ellison. He's kissing up to Palantir. He's kissing up to the tech bros. The tech bros are deeply involved with all this. So no matter who you vote for, you're getting this. Which is why people need to understand how critical this is, how insane and insidious it is to our people around the world, and how it will be used to exploit individuals into turning them into technocratic slaves, and people need to rise up against this. People need to understand how sinister the future will get in the ruling hands of stuff like this. That, we're going to take control and monitor your carbon emissions, and we'll guarantee you permissions if you have a certain amount of carbon credits. We'll take control of your bank account. We'll take control of your identity. We'll decide what house you're allowed to buy. We'll decide what groceries you're allowed to purchase. We'll decide when you get to go outside for fresh air. We get to decide what medications you're allowed to have. We get to decide. Meaning that you don't get anything. You do not become an individual. You're surrendering to the authoritarian regime of globalist tyranny that turns you into a slave. That's not a hyperbole. That's by fact. That this is a technocratic, feudalist society coming at us. And it's already happening, folks. The Great Reset is already happening. We don't even have to wait till 2030 to find out. It's already happening. So people be aware, understand this, and rise against it. Do not submit to a digital ID. Go against it. Call your congressperson, call up your MPs, call up your people representing you, and tell them, demand them that they do not follow through on this. That you're an individual, they're an individual, everybody's an individual with their own thoughts, their own perceptions, and they do not want to be controlled and submitted into a one-world tyranny system. No one wants to be a slave. We were supposed to be done with slavery years ago, but it turns out slavery did not go away. Same with fascism. It did not go away. It just got rebranded. And that's what we're dealing with right now. Is we're dealing with tyranny, we're dealing with fascism, we're dealing with enslavement, and this is affecting a huge amount of the population. And for those who say that, well, China has a system like this and it works for them, so maybe we should consider it. The Chinese system, I can tell you, the Chinese system is different than this. This is more unruly. This makes you more poor. And looking at the images of what China's been doing and how much progression is, I'd rather have China at this point than this. Because this is going to make you more poor. This is going to turn poor working class people even more desperate. But China, they have floating cars. They have cities that are beautiful. They have transformed their economy. We have squat. So if you think this is a good idea, you are dead wrong. So be aware of this. Call up your people. Demand that you will not comply with this. And let them know that you are an individual. You're fighting for other individuals. And if we submit to this, then humanity is at stake. And we are at war with the sovereignty of ourselves. If we submit to a digital ID run by globalist oligarchs.